Check out Mrs. Six's fancy new animations in the latest episode of Spoon Stuff Stories. And the same old crappy voice work by me. Hope you enjoy.
Okay, my good friends, Roger once again. Let's just start off by saying that...
Hey, Roger, my bestest friend in the whole wide world. How are we doing today? And more importantly, what completely age-appropriate content do you have for us to peruse this fine whenever it is today?
This is not going to be for kids specifically.
Okay. I mean, to be honest, I never thought your content was for kids. Just that you have the mind of like a 12-year-old. But if a 12-year-old made ultra-violent content, that wouldn't mean that it was appropriate for kids, even though it would be very immature and frickin' awesome.
Because I'm going to be showing body parts that are, anatomical.
Showing body parts that are anatomical. So, like... body parts. Anatomical is just a word that relates to the structure of a thing, so I wouldn't possibly know what you're talking about. Unless, of course, you think anatomical means the Venus and vagina. 'Cause you heard the term anatomically correct, meaning structurally correct, including the bits portion of the body in relation to dolls, without actually bothering to find out the actual meaning of the word, 'cause it's not like you be bad at researching anything, would it, Roger? No.
It's not porn. It's everybody's got one or the other, so I'm going to be showing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and it's definitely not porn. Not with Roger. Mister, if it looks like it, it's what it is. 'Cause, well, he wrong. Although, let's not kid ourselves, there's a good chance that someone has rubbed one out to a shapely rock or a particularly sexy tree stump. 'Cause, well, humans are a horny bunch.
It's up to you what you want to do about showing your kids these kind of things, but I think...
Let's just for a second say that these, really did super look like giant cocks. Purple end, veins, and big blue balls, and everything that you expect. That still wouldn't be even close to the main reason I wouldn't want my kids watching your content, Roger. I wouldn't want them watching you, at least unsupervised, because your videos are brain rot that somehow has quote-unquote smart people genuinely buying your shit. And kids are so easily influenced by stupid crap that it's best to save it for when they have fully developed critical faculties. Although that may not be inevitable, I'm pretty sure most of your audience are in fact grown-ups.
Any adult is capable of handling what I'm going to be showing, although their mind is going to be exploded.
Yeah, their brains splattered against the walls for sure. But I don't think it's going to be for quite the reason you think it is, Roger. In your mind, it'll be like, oh my god, this is so amazing and a real thing that is real. God, you're such a big brainer, Roger. I wish you were my granddad. When it's more, how can any one person be this ridiculous? The universe is not ready for this kind of absurdity. Time to reset the matrix and try again.
These are people walking here. This is a foot.
Wait, I thought it was, one of those thingies. A thingy. Otherwise, what was your whole not safe for the kiddos spiel about? Unless you're from the 1800s or something. When leg was a dirty word and they would literally have covers for table legs because it was too rude. I'm not kidding. The Victorians were a weird and prudish bunch. It would explain a few things about your incredibly poor science skills, though, in that you had just fallen out of a portal from a few hundred years ago.
Now, I am pretty deep into anatomy and so forth. I've worked with some of the top anatomists in the world.
Deep into anatomy, eh? I think I know which bit you're deep in. It's the same bit that you talk out of. I mean, seriously, you work with some of the top anatomists in the world. Really? I find that incredibly difficult to believe. I mean, you yourself say that experts all over dismiss your amazing findings constantly. So who? What top anatomists even associate with you? And no, your mates who agree with you on everything don't count as top. They have to actually be, not complete and total dipshits.
And nobody's giving me any dispute about what I'm showing. That's a foot.
Nobody. So it is just your mates then who buy your nonsense. I mean, if it wasn't, you could name them. And then we could go ask, and they definitely wouldn't say, "What are you talking about? That's a f***ing rock, not a foot. Now get out of my office. I have important things to do, like inventing new body parts, or whatever it is us anatomists do.
And that's the bone coming up the leg, and these are where the tendons are.
Bone and tendons, eh? Oh, I gotcha. You're just being all coy when you call this a leg. It's the, oft-fabled third leg, right? It's okay, you don't have to be shy about calling what it really is called. It's just a trouser snake. It's only a giggle stick. There is no need to worry about giving it its proper title, Ambassador Kickstand Tallywhacker the 9th Inch Pianist.
And it's eroded, and this is what the flesh turns into, is this red powdery dust and clay and so forth, depending upon the conditions it's in. Now,
dude, do you not think that maybe that dust and clay is like, oh, I don't know, dust and clay and maybe earth or whatever? Not friggin' flesh, 'cause, well, okay, I reckon I know what that is. I think that is one of the natural land pillars of Tasali and Ajar, a location that, while having a few of those pillars, is mostly just covered in that same kind of orangey red dust and whatever. And even if I'm wrong and it's not exactly that place, it's probably a similar story. So somehow the flesh spread out all over the place. Almost like that's the natural composition of that area and nothing to do with giant anything. Also, I just realised that at least with the Bennis ones, it would be dick flesh. Hot.
like I say, I'm going to show you a little bit of anatomy, and then we're going to go into some body parts that are going to show that these, that we're going to talk about it. We'll discuss it.
Discussing it is absolutely fine. I don't have a problem with that. The problem comes when you state these things as facts, and when you make claims like, I am talking to top super ultra mega biology boys who have psychic powers and the ability to turn inside out at will. And they say I'm the biggest smart guy they have ever met and is always right and attractive. Because that's when I start to think that you might be a bit full of shit and are actively trying to convince people of something without actually proving it.
And I'm going to probably, well, I know I am going to bring in Brian Forrester's work.
Brian Forrester? Oh God, I hope you don't mean this guy, 'cause come on, Roger. You really don't want to be adding frigging ancient aliens type shit to your already incoherent nonsense? It does not strengthen your case. It only makes it yet more gibberitic. Like, seriously, I thought even you were above space boys build all the things kinda garbage. I think perhaps I give you way too much credit, don't I?
Now, he has nothing to do with me. I'm not associated to him. He's not supporting anything that I say. But he's asking the questions. I want to try to answer some of them. So here we go.
Yeah, he's definitely the aliens guy, isn't he? I mean, if Roger doesn't want to associate with you, like he does with real biolads TM, then you are the worst. But Roger is going to answer his questions. And what do they say? Ask a stupid question, get a stupid answer. I just never realised how literal that could be.
All right, this is the kind of detail you have to get to before you can really understand biology and the anatomy of the human body and where the veins and arteries are and the difference between arteries and veins and capillaries and all of that stuff.
Okay, fine, I'll agree that that kind of complexity is what is inside your average humans. Don't ask me how I know, just that I checked. It's fine, but weirdly, when you look inside a rock, any rock, it looks nothing like that. Also, I have pointed this out before, but why would rock-based life form even look like that if it was real? Why would they need blood and veins and shit? That doesn't follow. When you make a thing out of a different material, you have completely different design requirements, especially if they're different sizes. Think of it this way. There's a reason you don't build a bungalow the same way you build a skyscraper, because it wouldn't make any f***ing sense.
And, how the foot is constructed and where the ligaments and tendons and all of that stuff is very, very important to be extremely detailed in your knowledge of.
Oh my God, what is that cracking sound? What are you doing? What are you using? Just set up your shots before you film so I don't have to listen to what sounds like the breaking of camera bones. Cameras have bones, right? Otherwise, how do they take pictures? It needs the components for the spells and shit. Don't tell me cameras aren't witchcraft. I'm not stupid.
Chemistry, biology, the whole 9 yards, anatomy, everything is tied together. So,
Yeah, those things are, but not like geology, because it isn't, because rocks aren't people parts. See, it's weird that you are so convinced of your amazing discovery, but something like that, something so big and obvious and everywhere, well, I hate to tell you, but if it was true, we would have figured it out by now. There's a really good reason why when you think something is plain as day, and everyone else keeps saying that you're wrong, there's a really, really, really high chance that you're just an idiot.
This is what I do. I'm sort of a geek at this kind of stuff. I can't help myself. I found things that I couldn't explain, and now I'm trying to work my way through it.
Oh, I've heard that one before, that calling yourself a geek or a nerd about your topic du jour. And yes, you have a high interest, but another main thing about being a geek about a topic is that they're usually like smart and knowledgeable about them too. And I'm not saying that you're dumb, Roger, but I wouldn't trust you alone with cleaning products.
So let's work our way through it.
Let's do that. It's not like we're way over halfway through a Sir Sick episode, probably. Let's start actually having a point, shall we?
Okay, so you see the size of this foot, and you see the size of those people.
Oh, god damn it, we're back to the foot. I still think that's a euphemism. I mean, whose foot looks like that? Really? Mine certainly doesn't. Mine looks like this. What do you mean that's not what a leg is supposed to look like? No, I think you are all the weird ones. Thank you very much. This is peak physical perfection. Don't hate me 'cause you ain't me.
And you saw the thumbnail that I had on here. Hold on, let's see if we can find what I'm talking about.
Yeah, God forbid that you, the professional prover of this thing that is definitely an amazing true fact, possibly have your shit together so you can actually show and explain it. But no, that's what those dumb real science guys do. That's how you know they're wrong. Because if they don't just talk shit from the top of their head, what's even the point?
Because I have so much stuff on this that it's pretty amazing.
Having a bunch of disorganized bullshit isn't actually the same as having lots of relevant evidence, Roger. Just pointing that out. I mean, I am sure you have hundreds, if not thousands, of pictures of rocks that look like whatever, but that doesn't mean shit. I mean, do you know how many rocks there are on Earth and even in the universe at large? Well, it's a lot. You're gonna find ones that look a bit like other things. But the funniest thing about you is your rocks never look like anything, and I doubt they ever will.
Here it is. Where is it? I got a lot of penises.
Don't we all, Roger? Don't we all? Wait, we don't? But then how do you bang an entire hotel ballroom's worth of adults all in one go? One at a time? That sounds inefficient.
You see this one, the penis house. Where's the other one?
So, not only does he have a penis house, he has multiples. Like I said, the guy's a child. And that's not exactly an insult either. I am similarly immature. But I understand my limits, and I don't assume I know more than people who are actually mentally equivalent to their age.
This one here is your typical pagan penis. Uncircumcised.
Typical pagan penis. Now, that's a phrase I never expected to hear, least of all from Roger. And you know what? I stand corrected. For the first time in Mudfossil history, does something pretty unambiguously look like what he says. I mean, usually it's a vague resemblance at best, but yep, that's a penis-looking thing for damn sure. And lastly, to what you said, but the idea that uncircumcised is like less godly has always seemed weird to me. Like, seriously, not to bring it up for the third time in as many weeks, but why God hate the foreskin so much? I mean, maybe don't add a thing to literally every version of your product if it's getting cut off. And no, it's not the same as like a price tag, because otherwise... Oh, wait. Did you know that I'm buy one, get one free, apparently?
You know, I'm telling you, the Earth was just covered with them.
The Earth is covered in penises. I mean, you're not wrong, but they aren't that big, and they all prefer the term humans. Absolute biggest bunch of penises I ever did see in my life. Although, I do like the idea of Earth basically being like a giant dick-coated morning star. Imagine taking one of those to the face.
Look at this. I don't know what the heck is going on with this. I mean, what can I say?
That's a statue, Roger. It was, and get this right, made by a person, or perhaps people. It's actually the opposite to the big rocks in that regard. But yeah, people like to make phallic effigies. People, they just love their penises. Peni? Penne? No, wait, that's the pasta. I mean, it is a long tube shape, so...
Here it is right here. Now, look at the size of the people here.
Yeah, sure, it's the people that I'm looking at. And again, another one that really does look like a John Thomas. It's kind of weird that of all the things, he finds multiple in a row that are just spot on in their representation of being the big D. Is that just that brains are wired to find cocks, or what? It's just strange. Maybe it's just me.
And I mean, what can I say? That could have been from that guy. I don't know. I'm not going to try to make any comparisons about what should or shouldn't be. Now, this is obviously appears to be circumcised to me. I mean...
Oh my God, why do you care? Why is that the important part of this? It's the fact that it might not have a bell end shield. Not that for some reason this thing that was apparently once attached to a big boy is both erect and pointing perfectly towards the sky. And the other one was too. I would bet that the next one you find will be as well. But I bet there are loads of rocks that you wouldn't even have noticed being cylindrical if it were laid down. And that's probably why these do seem more clearly to be donks. It's because they're upright, and that's like its main thing.
Unless it's just some natural rock formation.
No, couldn't be that, could it? That would be crazy town. Seriously, Roger, again, just because you found something that looks like what you say doesn't mean it actually is that. Ultimately, what I'm saying is, Roger, just because you're half right, don't get cocky, mate. Yes, I did make this whole video so I could make that joke. You're welcome.
Wait, before you go, I have something super important to tell you. It's life or death. It will change everything forever. Nope, wait, it's gone. Oh well, probably wasn't important. But while I have you, don't forget to comment, subscribe and notify. And if you want more of my smexy voice, check out Mrs. Six's channel Spoonstaff Stories, where I narrate and voice all the videos, and she does the work. And if you want to support the channel, check out the merch store for cool t-shirts, or check out Patreon, memberships and PayPal to support directly. Finally, follow me on the medias of social to get completely pointless guff and to keep up on the latest releases. Oh, I just remembered what I was going to tell you. Whatever you do, don't touch the...